Hello everyone. In this video, we would examine the formative days of scientific thinking and discuss various ontological and epistemological propositions of different meta-theories such as theology, rationalism and positivism. To begin with, Aristotle once said all men by nature desire to know, and the other German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche says, I were dark and obscure, how would I suck at the breast of light? The thread of these two lines is that man is a philosophical animal who is insatiably in pursuit of reality. Many thinkers delve deeper on this subject matter through centuries. Of course, the aspects of metaphysics, that is, ontology and epistemology, had been the only subject to answer man's deepest questions of truth before the inception of science as subject matter. So, metaphysics is a branch of philosophy generally deals with existence or nature of reality. Ontology, an aspect of metaphysics particularly concerned about nature of reality, that is whether reality physical or metaphysical, and the other aspect, epistemology, deals with knowledge. At the risk of oversimplification, ontology deals with nature of reality and epistemology is the study of knowledge. Thus, let's examine ontological and epistemological propositions of different meta-theories such as theology, rationalism, and positivism one by one. To begin with theology, theology believed to be the first meta-theory to answer the deepest questions like existence and nature of reality. So, as per theology, reality is absolute, spiritual, and is given by God. For theology, religious texts served as the major source of knowledge. One of the eminent Greek philosophers like Plato believed in theology and once said that gods instilled all real knowledge in the first human beings and that is transmitted with their souls from generation to generation. And he also believes that universe is created rather evolved. In the course of time, for few of the philosophers, Plato's idea about reality seemed fanciful and they abandoned common theological and supernatural explanations and were consistently in search of rational explanations. At times, the transition of thought between 11th and 14th century had reached to its celestial heights in 17th century, and this century termed as Age of Reason, and it's also called rationalism. This philosophical position was staunchly supported by a group of renowned philosophers like René Descartes, Baruch Spinoza, and Leibniz. 17th century philosophers René Descartes and group emphasized on reason as the fundamental source of knowledge. In contrast, the 18th century philosophers like John Locke, George Berkeley, and Hume watch for empirical evidences as a source of knowledge in addition to reason, and thereby they call this position as empiricism or positivism. Positivism proclaimed that reality is something which can be verified in the laboratory, otherwise it's not reality at all. Positivism strongly assumes that if anything exists, that exists in some quantity. 18th century is key to illuminating and exploring major modes of scientific reasoning like observation, investigation, testing hypotheses, and building hypotheses. So, the definition of science from positivistic perspective is science is first and foremost a set of ideas about the material world and discovering the patterns or pre-established harmony in nature. If you see the other definition, science is both a process, meaning a way of thinking and working to make sense of the natural world, and a product, meaning a body of knowledge produced by that process, such as explanations. It also an activity that involves and affects people. So, the success of science can then be attributed to the development of cognitive tools and styles of reasoning that have been used to argue for a set of ideas. Ideas that have initially seemed absurd, such as the idea that day and night are caused by a spinning earth, not by a moving sun. So, this is what the formative days of science in a nutshell. Before we wind up, let's take a question: how post-positivism is different from positivism? Think about it, and let's meet for the next video on styles of reasoning. Thank you so much.